Oh my, okay. He just sweeped me away like a fly and I'm dead. Alright, well, you know, I mean, we don't need to grind anymore for Gore Magala armor. We really don't, so... We really don't, but, you know... No way, bro. What? What do I do on there? Like, literally. If I'm just gonna get one-shotted like that. How would I know? His hitbox is, like, gigantic as well. Oh, wow. Dude, that is just insane to dodge. Once he has that down, it's hard for me to dodge it with the longsword. Look at this, bro. That's really it. Sheesh. This whole new update got everybody in shambles. That 9-star Gore Magala, threat level 5. What am I dealing with? We in master rank already? So, dude, now as much as I couldn't care less about the difficulty of Monster Hunter Wilds. It could be hard, it could be easy, I could care less because I really enjoy it because it being a Monster Hunter game. I just love hunting the monsters, seeing the monsters, doing all these explorations. And yes, I was somewhat one of those people that said the game was too easy to begin with, or at least I felt like the monsters were a pushover, especially how they force you to do all the story and the way that they build up all these monsters. I honestly thought, because you guys said in my first impressions or my thoughts on Monster Hunter, as soon as I completed the game, I said that the monsters felt like we were short on the monsters for the base game, but apparently someone said we have nearly the same amount just like World. I didn't even realize it just because of how insane I went and speed through the story in that whole entire base game itself. And I personally did not like seeing how the monsters weren't as scary to me. I hate how I actually felt very powerful, that I was the ultimate hunter. I wanted to have an equal fight with the monster, to say the least, or have that immersion. And I get it, it's low rank, and we're just in low rank and high rank, which is completely fine because I look back, this is also a game that is catered to newcomers. Every Monster Hunter game so far has been, to a certain degree, they create these life quality changes for newcomers to get used to the game, and then the real game begins during the expansion. So yes, so throughout the release of this game, we've been in so many discussions about difficulty, and I feel like I'm beating the dead horse already on this. I sound like a broken record talking about the difficulty topic, but I think honestly this may be one of the last videos, unless they decide to go even more crazy with the 10-star, right? 10-star monsters, I mean the 9-star monsters. What are we doing? That is insane. I will share my thoughts later on this, on like the 9-star. But let's talk about this certain TikTok that I saw, because it has interesting comments when it comes to discussion within the Monster Hunter community, or at least with people who are just casually playing the game, or people who have been hunting since the early days, or since the OG days, that's what I'm trying to say. Let's check it out. This TikTok is by the Red Monkey 97. He captions it, "We need difficulty." So let's go ahead and check it out.
I'm sorry, but this is just wrong. Monster Hunter Wilds does need to be this hard, and if I had to argue, it needs to be harder. Because of how easy this game has been, it's sort of suffering from having really good mechanics in the game, but you don't even need them. My biggest example for this is the field guide. If you don't know, the field guide tells you the weakness of whatever monster you're fighting. But because of how easy the game has been, not one monster on this list is hard enough to force you to go here. As of right now, you don't even have to theory craft and make your builds as strong as they possibly can get. You don't don't even have to use ardent weapons. You play with these just for the love of the game. But listen to me clearly. I said as for right now. Because yeah, these are just 9-star monsters. Of course, they're more difficult, but this is this is nothing compared to what's coming. Gore Magala is cooking everyone, and this is a baby. I'm not even kidding. This is a baby that hasn't opened its eyes yet. When that thing finally opens its eyes and evolves, y'all are gonna cry. But when that kind of difficulty come around, these mechanics will probably start becoming a need. Theory crafted and making a good build will become a must. But as of right now, you don't need any of that. But we should need it. You don't need useless mechanics in the game.
I don't know where to begin. I feel like I agree with him for the most part. The thing is about, you know, with the whole RNG systems and say how they are completely useless because you didn't really need them at all. That is just simply for the grind factor of the game, and if you really want to take it up a notch with your build. And that's what I like. It's how it's an option. I have certain criticisms about the systems with the modern Monster Hunter games when they always rely on RNG and the time that you take. As someone that covers so many games on the channel and doesn't really put crazy amount of time into the Monster Hunter games as much as I do want to, of course, I think what makes me really get burnt out from Monster Hunter is the grind factor. As much as I have a lot of praise for amazing gameplay loop and having grind into the game, because if you don't really have any sort of gameplay loop or grind factor in these certain games, it just becomes very stale. Moments like this when it comes to Monster Hunter, as we're anticipating each and every update along with its DLC expansion, I'm one of those, I guess I'm like the small percentage, I'm the minority, where I don't mind where the drop rates and the other materials that you get, I don't mind getting it quickly. I really don't. I feel like I have more incentive to come back to each and every update, just knowing the fact that I'm gonna get certain loot or the drop rates within this amount of time than spending 10 plus hours, 20 plus, 30 plus hours for a full armor set. And that's just simply because I'm just a busy person overall outside of the YouTube stuff and gaming. But the thing is, seeing the whole 9-star difficulty and how now the systems, like if you want these certain talisman, if you want to take it up a notch with your builds, because these talisman, for those who don't know, if you weren't there for Monster Hunter Sunbreak, which is the DLC expansion from Monster Hunter Rise, I mean the talisman were actually introduced in base game, but Sunbreak kind of take it up a notch with the RNG talisman. They really changed the game and how you build your armor sets and all your other things, right? I got a little bit worried seeing that because first of all, but I also like it. I also like at the same time how there's an incentive to grind out the harder difficulties, the higher the stars, you get like all these different sort of rewards. Because someone pointed out that yes, like for like 8 stars you get these or 7 stars you get certain like decorations or RTN gear along with 8 stars, and then 9 stars it's about talisman. So I like how there's incentive for these certain rewards, but with how the monsters are balanced, I feel like there's a lot of inconsistency, because some monsters, I haven't fought everything yet, and I'm also a longsword user. But I haven't fought every single monster yet, and it's the fact that there are different matchups when it comes to the weapon that you use. Certain weapons are just good against these certain monsters, while certain monsters have an advantage on you if you're using this certain weapon. So I haven't fought every 9-star monster yet, but Gore Magala was one of the main ones that I fought, and goddamn, it's like we're not even in high rank anymore. So I was so confused that I was getting one-shotted, and it's insane. Like honestly, I'm here for the challenge, because I honestly almost took him down. 9 stars, threat level 5. It's on stream, by the way, if you ever want to check it out. I did have to do like a few runbacks with that monster, and I still took a lot of L's. Still didn't win yet. I almost did. Just knowing how much health all the monsters take up, like, because they take up a lot of your damage, because all the 9 stars, I mean including 8-star monsters, they take up some like a lot of your damage, because I'm seeing the average hunts now are like about 20 to 30 minutes depending what type of quest they have and depending what type of threat level they have. I also like the dynamicness of the certain quests that everybody is going through in Wilds, which is nice to see, right? God damn. Like, god damn. Gore Magala out here just like humbling every hunter. Even the ones that even say like, hey, I'm fine with the game. He didn't care. Like, he's like, everyone is getting these hands. So it kind of caused this, I wouldn't say discourse, but this discussion with everybody of how, like, dude, we're still in high rank, and the amount of times that we're getting one-shotted is completely ridiculous sometimes. And I do kind of agree with that to a certain extent, because the difficulty gaps are like all over the place now. I also want to mention in this little post edit that none of the high rank endgame quests were honestly like this in the previous 2 games. I played vanilla base Monster Hunter World when it was first launched, and also with Rise, and I didn't feel this level of difficulty, which is honestly insane to note. I'm just putting it out there. I don't know. I personally don't know how to feel about this, because they have arch-tempered monsters that you could actually have a chance with on surviving, compared to, or like an 8-star, 9-star threat level 5 Gore Magala that will wipe you out quickly, especially the 9-star that will literally one-shot you. It's like as if this Gore Magala is from Master Rank. There has to be some sort of story or some lore on why Gore Magala is this strong, you know, literally, like for the future story when it comes to these title updates, because ain't no way, man. It is just, I'm honestly confused. But again, I'm here for the challenge. I don't mind if the game is difficult or not, but let's read the comments, because this is interesting to see. Someone said, it isn't a matter of making the monster more difficult, it's really the fact that people memorize these movesets from the monsters and knowing how to time your weapon type, and once you get that down, there really isn't much left for difficulty. That's like fighting Radon, I think he's talking about Elden Ring now, and knowing all his moves and how to avoid it. Honestly, I think it's best to play a new game, or just enjoy what they bring to the table, in my opinion. No need to keep increasing their HP and attack power. This comment has been something that people have been saying for the longest time, not just for a Monster Hunter game. This has been like a discourse, or not really discourse, more so a criticism within the action game community, because I myself, who play many action games, I noticed a change with difficulty of how they just constantly make the enemy very spongy, and they just make you like if you get hit, they take a big chunk of your health instead of actually knowing the fight. It becomes a big endurance test by the end of creating these quote-unquote difficult boss fights, which is why it's a bit annoying rather than you being engaged with the actual combat itself. Say what you will, but these are interesting, you know, comments and discussions, and I'm very aware that people have complained and like did a review bomb on Monster Hunter World for how difficult it got. And it's funny because history is constantly repeating itself with many of the titles where it's too easy, like starting from World, like it's too easy to where it's too hard, change the game. The Capcom developers can never win at this point. Again, personally for me, I never got into Monster Hunter about the difficulty. I came in there for the game itself, of like, and what it does. The hunting, the beautiful monsters, the exploration, the little journey that you got in that game. Just the whole beauty in Monster Hunter. I'm just there for it. And obviously, like, yes, the action in that game is amazing as well, as you are hunting the monster. Like you're having some sort of rivalry against these certain monsters, which I do love. Knowing that it's Capcom, I always knew that they were gonna increase the difficulty. I think I've said that before plenty of times. And if you guys don't really follow Capcom as a company, or like with their teams, no matter what team they are in when they're making these certain games, they always find a way to make the game difficult. So Monster Hunter, Devil May Cry, Resident Evil, they have made these games insanely hard to play on the highest difficulty. So I'm not surprised with what they gave us. How this is just endgame for high rank. It is insane. It's honestly insane. But anyway, let's get on with the other comments and see how it is. By the way, guys, like these are everyone's opinions. This is what I love about TikTok, the TikTok gaming community. Even though there are parts of TikTok I don't like, when it comes to actual discussions, I love it. So, especially when I saw this comment section, there's some things to point out about when it comes to the new updates and everything. So someone said, old hunter here, Monster Hunter was not a game about being one shot. You could if your armor wasn't good enough. So I partially agree, but I also disagree. It should be focused on gear and having the right resistances along with knowing mechanics. If you just quadrupled the damage into one shooting, everyone who looked at you, even with the right resistances and gear, that would be disheartening. My opinion, could be wrong, but yeah. See, difficulty is fine, but if you ain't using a weapon that can block, I don't see a soloing a 9-star Gore or Seregios without eating at least 3 cards, and even then it's impressive. It's an impressive feat to win. I'm an LS main and still get cooked by them because they combo so much and so quick you just can't counter absolutely everything. He is right about that. You just can't counter everything, and even if you did counter everything, you take damage. You take super armor damage from Gore Magala. Again, the way that all these 9-star monsters are balanced, whether they just poke you or they do a huge swing, your health is gone. Like, you just cannot be damaged at all in these 9-star hunts. So that is my little criticism. Like, no matter what monster I'm fighting, it's not just a Gore Magala situation. It is just for any monster. You just get touched by something, a poke, it is over. And that's kind of irritating considering how Monster Hunter already by itself, it's hard to do a no damage run in Monster Hunter, especially how there's other factors to consider. Especially, I'm not Team Darkside, like, what we doing out here, man? And there's someone here, one shots should not be common. The game isn't too easy, it just needs a rebalance. There you go. I said it as well. It just needed some rebalances here and there. I already thought, like, I think by the end of Title Update 2, I was very confident, or just seeing the 8-star monsters, I was very confident on seeing how a lot of the monsters were. I'm like, okay, yep, this is it. I'm like, they are making this game a little bit more tough. And then seeing how laggy and Soregios are, I'm like, alright, Monster Hunter. And then the Arch-Tempered, like with Ufduna, and then a little bit with, you know, Arch-Tempered Raidao, I was like, okay. They're kind of cooking up. Oh, this guy, he low-key sounds salty. I'm sorry, my guy. Sorry, Tyler. He's like, no, it shouldn't be this hard. One-shots of anything are not fun at all. He got traumatized. He got traumatized by the 9-star. I feel like there should be a balance. I'm all for Monster Hunter being difficult, but I fear if they only add monsters that are harder and don't add more to the basic high rank, a lot of new people that are enjoying the game currently will drop if they aren't having fun, but that's just my opinion. This is true to a certain extent. The problem is that new players end up leaving. That was actually the problem of this game. All the new players left, and that's why all the veterans were like, you see, Capcom, we tried to tell you, and we're still here playing your game with the new updates. The new players are not really there to experience the expansion or like the title updates, because they're probably not even aware of it as well. I swear, y'all better chill before Pickle, B-52, and Goku and the crew of true crash outs come strolling in. Hell, Steve is gonna be worse in Master Rank and G Rank. Oh, here we go. This is the comment that actually made me want to make this video, because I said this before in one of my previous videos, but as a new gen, this is generally has me cackling. It's not easy at all, actually. Almost every monster has me looking at the field guide, and I tweak my weapons every time I fight. It's not easy. You're just used to playing the game or similar games. I do love seeing these opinions though, lol. So I want to actually kind of extend more my opinion on that, because I talked about this not too long, well, a few months ago, I think, discussing about, again, the difficulty, this topic, saying how I didn't realize that the newcomers are actually somewhat struggling with Monster Hunter Wilds, because there's a big learning curve when you're getting into the Monster Hunter games. When I initially started World, I thought everything was personally hard to do, even on low rank. So there was a wall of me trying to learn the game at the same time I'm progressing, and then they're adding all these other new mechanics. It gets a little bit overwhelming time to time, but I was still enjoying it because, again, I'm enjoying the whole adventure of Monster Hunter World. I realized that I just really got better as a hunter just because I'm seeing these new hunters, and I watch another content creator. He's definitely way bigger than me. I think he has like over 1 million subscribers at this point. I watch FaZe Jev, which is known... He's known to like post a lot of shooters and like Call of Duty and all that sort of stuff. But now he's kind of leaning towards variety. He was getting into Monster Hunter Wilds, and he was a Hammer main. Now, I know Hammer to some people, it was a bit weak on launch. There was still crazy Hammer gameplay out there. And I honestly thought that low rank in Monster Hunter Wilds was honestly one of the easiest monsters to go through. So even if the weapon was technically weak, I feel like people are still able to go through these monsters much more easily. But then when I saw his time on the completion, where it was like over 20 minutes, which was a average hunt for myself as well when I initially started on low rank, it was like 10 to 20 minutes. I was like, that's how you know that these players are completely new and they are struggling out here compared to veteran hunters like me. Because I went back to World. I also even played GU before I got into Wilds, and I was completing these hunts within 5 to 10 minutes on low rank with a whole new save file. It just shows how much I improved as a hunter. That's not to say that the game was objectively difficult or it's on that right balancing, because to a certain extent I do think, again, the game was easy to begin with, but especially I feel like as well, we're just in this new era, this new age where everyone's a gamer and they're expecting some sort of difficulty. Especially how no one wants to be babied anymore. They want to actually see these challenges. And when I kept self-reflecting about the difficulty a few months ago, like before all the difficulty stuff even came in, I thought it was okay, or it was nice for where it was at for newcomers. And I was fine by that, because this is just low rank and this is just high rank. This is just like the tutorial part of the game, and I will actually start criticizing and judging the game by the expansion. But damn, I guess we kind of got it very early. Like, we got it very early with Gore Magala. God damn, now everyone is just in shambles, and now everyone is like worried, like, oh damn, what is gonna happen? Everyone has that fear now coming into the hunt, which I like. Praise the Lord, bro, because every time I get into a hunt, I'm just like, it's just another day. Now I'm getting into a hunt against these 9-stars, and I'm just like, oh my god, I don't want to get through this. This is gonna be a tough hunt for sure. But yeah, I'm gonna continue reading the comments. I mean, over here, this comment by Drew says, stop saying high rank is too easy. Y'all are just asking for master rank earlier. Ooh, see? He kind of makes a point. Let people enjoy high rank, the ones that know what's up, know what's coming. The builds are flawed, by the way. I think difficulty makes it more real. Like, please go get punted by a dragon and tell me you live 2 hits. Besides, all base game post content is normally harder than we expect it to be. Valstract and Base Rise could still cart master rank hunters. At that time, yeah, that is true. Like, Valstrax was a challenge, a little bit of a challenge in base game Rise. And again, guys, actually, out of the modern Monster Hunter games that we got, Rise and Sunbreak are my favorite Monster Hunter game so far. And I love Valstrax. And by post game, I felt like, and I didn't even really have a meta set as well, I didn't feel like I was completely getting annihilated compared to Gore Magala. Compared to like the 9-star Gore Magala. Like, I was just so confused on why he was so difficult. I'm like, something is off. I felt something different. You know how Doctor Strange literally just hits your body out of your soul? That's what happened to me. I guess, again, it really depends on what type of weapon you have and everyone. And these hunts are always dynamic. So everyone also goes through different things, you know, with the movesets and such. I've said it once and I'll say it again. Everyone needs to chill with the difficulty, because this is just barely the start and the difficulty will get harder in the next expansion. So chill and happy hunting. Oh man, dude, like at this point the expansion is gonna just destroy everybody. They're gonna put everybody into shambles. I hope there's actually some rebalancing than just ridiculous one-shots. I'm not even kidding when I say that. The game is finally where it's supposed to be. I have never cared about how easy the story into late game is, but endgame needs to be endgame. Everything should be hard and should get even harder. It's supposed to be extremely challenging. That is a point as well, right? Since we don't have the expansion. But what happens? Like, think about like the whole entire game. So how will they balance it? Will it just literally be the same? What if newer hunters, new people that are coming into this game, right? And they're like, okay, I'll go in a little bit of the end game of high rank, and then they end up with the 9 stars and the 8 stars and just get bodied. God damn, what is gonna happen? What is gonna happen to that? Or just gonna skip it and go into the expansion and just see how it is? I guess that's gonna be the gameplay loop, and hopefully it'll be playable. Because I wonder how the expansion is gonna be. Again, there's some inconsistencies. Some 9 stars are not as crazy. They're really not. I think I fought even Uthduna. The 8-star Uthduna is nothing compared to the Arch-Tempered, which is great, because the Arch-Tempered should be better. It's Arch-Tempered. And yeah, Ray Dao was completely normal. I did fight the 8-star Seregios. That was a nightmare and very scary to go through, as he could easily get you if you slack off. I still need to fight Laggy. I'm very curious about Laggy, but I did fight Arkveld. Arkveld is really the same thing. It just feels like I'm fighting beta Arkveld. And I feel like the way how Arkveld is balanced should be how a lot of the monsters should be. And I know that people say that Arkveld is an easy monster to fight. Well, it's just because everyone has memorized his moveset through the beta. Especially if you were trying to slay him the entire time when the beta was out. So, and especially how he's the main monster that you'll be constantly grinding for, like certain gear for before like the actual end game that we have right now. I felt like Arkveld was actually a fun and challenging fight to go through, because yeah, if you are slacking off or if you kind of have some sort of greed, he will punish you and he could potentially one-shot you before like the 9-star Arkveld. I'm talking about like 7-star or 8-star. We'll see how the balancing is. Like, again, it's everywhere, and I feel like there needs to be some sort of consistency, so that whether you are a veteran or new hunter, you have an idea how to prep up and build your whole set, your equipment. But what I do like about this update is that now it's pushing the game's mechanics, because that's what I really wanted, and a lot of people have been asking for much more friction in video games as a whole, not just Monster Hunter itself. So I noticed a lot of its mechanics when I was playing the beta, because obviously we're like underpowered, we're undergeared. What I noticed throughout many of the hunts that I had during the beta was I was constantly always using the environment. I was always scouting for some items within the environment, using also the traps, using a lot of the material. I was always spacing, positioning correctly. It was fun overall. I actually felt like I was really hunting down the monster. So, and the fact that now the tent with these 9-star monsters, it really feels like a necessity to have the tents at certain locations, so that you could have a reload into your items, because I know a lot of people say that makes the game way too easy. But now it's like, since the monsters are literally bodying us, it's nice to actually use the tent and for its main purpose and rely on it, since we're running out of these potions out in the wild for Monster Hunter. So yeah, shout out to the Red Monkey 97. I appreciate this little video that he put out, as I do agree with him, but I think there is some things to consider about Monster Hunter Wilds with how they are balancing the monsters and even with the newer systems. I just hope, again, the RNG systems are not as reliant. I did not rely on the RTN weapons at all. I could care less about that, and I don't like that at all. I'm a little bit worried with the RNG talisman. I hope I could keep on going through these updates with the static upgrades with the talisman that they provide you in the game, rather than relying on the RNG stuff, because again, I still have to find and grind for a certain talisman if I do want to utilize it. We'll see how it's gonna be by the end, but hopefully this is one of the last videos when it comes to difficulty. Probably not. Probably I'm gonna make another one, but I hope you guys enjoyed the video. This was somewhat of a long discussion. I hope you guys actually enjoyed this. Remember, drop a like and subscribe if you haven't yet, as we cover more Monster Hunter in the future. We're gonna do more live streams of that eventually throughout these updates, and maybe I'm gonna have a stream where I dedicate the grind to Monster Hunter. But alright, y'all have a good day and happy hunting.